Hey everyone, Mah-Dry-Bread here. Pokemon Gold with a team picked by a random number generator was a fun team run. Let's follow that up with something that I'm sure will be insanely hard again. Today's the day that we figure out, would I be able to beat Pokemon Gold with a team of only one Shedinja? Now, I'm sure you guys already know about Shedinja, especially if you watched me struggle through Pokemon Platinum a few weeks ago. But for those of you who don't know, Shedinja is an incredibly weird Pokemon. As you can see, it's got high attack and literally only 1 health. It has 1 health the whole game. What makes it special is its ability Wonder Guard, an ability that makes us immune to direct attacks that aren't super effective, meaning that the damaging move has to be Flying, Rock, Ghost, Fire, or Dark type if it's gonna hit us. Stuff like Poison, Burns, Confusion damage, and Rough Weather will still make us faint though, so those can also be threats. By level up, we get a few good moves like Confuse Ray, Shadow Sneak, and eventually Shadow Ball, although we're not really much of a special attacker. Still, Shadow Ball saved us in Platinum when it came to Pokemon with Aftermath. I'm sure that would save us some Rough Skin as well, although I'm not sure if there's any Pokemon here that have that. I guess we'll find out this run. By TM, there's a few things here that we probably need. Return is a must-have when we're this frail, but in this game it's a Battle Frontier TM, so that's not happening. Shadow Claw is thankfully very easy to find near the Ghost Gym, so we're getting that for sure. Maybe we could get Dig, but I'm not sure if I'm really gonna need it. Our moveset's gonna be pretty limited. Maybe we go with Return, Shadow Claw, Confuse Ray, and Double Team? That last run would have been totally impossible without Double Team, so I figure it might be a requirement. Then again, it's not until Kanto in this game, so I could see the lack of Double Team and Johto being a serious problem. Like always, I'm writing the script as I go through the challenge, so this part is being written before I've started. Everyone comment down below and guess if I can win or not. I can't think of anything that will completely brick wall me either than probably Red, but if there's anything that I learned from Shedinja and Platinum, I'm gonna get stuck in the weirdest places and never see it coming. I do think I can beat Lance though. Let's explain the rules. In combat, I can only use Shedinja. I'll need other Pokemon to use HMs, but I won't be allowed to use any of those Pokemon in battle. No glitches or exploits, no items in battle, only Pokeballs, held items, and items outside of combat are allowed. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more. Let's do this. So, right off the bat, I used the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Chikorita with Shedinja so that we can do the whole run with it. I picked to replace Chikorita so that our rival would have Typhlosion, for sure the hardest for us to fight. I name him Gilberg, like last time. Our nature is Lonely for more attack and less defense, literally a perfect nature for Shedinja, although it took a lot of restarts to get it. I tried plugging my Shedinja into an IV calculator. It's not going to give me a perfect answer since we're too low level to know exactly what our IVs are, but I can tell that our attack IV is somewhere between 20 and 31, so that's pretty good. Our speed is between 0 and 19 unfortunately, but considering our level 5 speed range is 9 or 10, we aren't going to have an accurate idea of what our speed IV is. Could literally be 0, could be all the way at 19. Let's hope it's not 0, because that might cause issues. Now, I'm gonna do some effort value grinding, so you might want to look away for a little bit if you're sensitive to extremely fast footage. Alright, so you know exactly how this has got to start if you watched me do Pokemon Platinum with only one Shedinja a few weeks ago. Great run, by the way. I need to grind up perfect effort values. Normally, I wouldn't need to do this, but it's Shedinja. Health, defense, and special defense are all a waste, so we really do need to manually grind up our effort values to make sure they're not wasted. Thankfully, it's not too hard. The first raid of the game only has 3 Pokemon during daylight. Pidgey, Sentret, and a small chance of Rattata. So 60% of the time it's either a Pidgey or a Rattata who gives speed effort values, and 40% of the time it's Sentret for those attack values. I need to make 155 speed Pokemon faint as well as 155 attack Pokemon. Now obviously it's going to take longer to do the attack effort value one since that's only 40% of the encounters, but that's still a decent number. At least it's not like Platinum where I had to run away from Pokemon half the time because they didn't give the right values. Just like before, with your guys' permission from the previous video as well as from when I asked in the Pokemon Ultra Moon playthrough, I hacked in vitamins to give us some free effort values so that I don't need to make as many Pokemon faint, thus meaning that we are not as over-leveled. I wish I could have done this entirely through through vitamins and just skipped the effort value grinding, but in this generation you can only get up to 100 effort values in one stat through vitamins, not the full 255. Also, I made the footage a little bit smaller because when I did the Platinum playthrough, some people were saying that the ultra-fast footage made it hard to look at, especially from the flashing of the menus opening and closing. It's funny, I remember I used to make ultra-fast footage smaller in old challenges to make it easier to look at, but people would always just comment and say that I didn't need to do that, so I figured that maybe it was just me who thought it looked awful. I guess not. So for the rest of this video, anytime I show you anything that's time-lapsed that is extremely long, and thus has to be played extremely quickly, I'll shrink it a bit so it's less awful to look at. And once again, just like before, if you appreciate all the extra effort I put into Shedinja challenges to make them possible, then you can do stuff like hyping and liking the video as a free way to help share the show. If you want the videos early, then check out the YouTube members page and my Patreon. And if you just want something new to check out, then look at the playlists sometimes. I have done hundreds and hundreds of Let's Plays of games, both Pokemon and non-Pokemon, and I'm really proud of them. You'll find all kinds of stuff in there that I have no doubt whatsoever you will find very funny. Anyway, after just 22 minutes, we're done our grind. Here's our stats: 52 attack and 28 speed. Now, after punching that into the IV calculator, it says that we have between 26 and 31 attack IVs, so we are really close to the highest it can be. Speed, though, between 1 and 6. Ouch. Yeah, that might genuinely cause us problems near the end of the run. It's hard to say this early. Now let's go through this flying gym. Yeah, they can hit us, but at this point, I figure that we're just gonna sweep them. Well, even with our crazy high attack, we could still have lost this fight. He spends the first turn switching to Pidgeotto, so we get a free hit on it, but it does less than half its health and damage, so I had to use Fury Attack to finish it off. If we missed, then it still would have been a loss. Really, I don't expect us to hit very hard until we get return, but we have an awful fight between now and then. I'll talk about that in a moment. Alright, are you ready for this to become a horrible mess? You may remember from the Platinum run that we had to be level 38 to get Shadow Sneak before we could beat the first gym in the game. Well, we didn't need it for the first gym, and I figured that the second gym should be easy as well, since I don't think they have any way of hitting us. But we will probably need to be level 38 for the rival fight right after. It's the rival fight that opens with Ghastly. He can hit us, and the only move that we have to hit him back is Leech Life, a 20 power move that he resists. Unless we somehow one-shot him with it, and I very highly doubt that we can, we have to level up to 38 to get Shadow Sneak. Now, it's not a big deal if we do. I mean, our effort values are maxed out, and there's literally no danger whatsoever in grinding since they can't hit us, so I may as well just rare candy up. There would be functionally no difference at all. It's just kind of annoying since I like to stay at as low of a level as I reasonably can in Shedinja runs. It's part of what makes them interesting. It is what it is, though. I'll get there, I'll see how the fight goes, and if by some miracle we end up winning without Shadow Sneak, then that's a bonus. If we do need Shadow Sneak, that's fine too. Well, at the Bug Gym, I was right that none of them could hit us. The fight took a while because we didn't do much damage, but there was no danger. And of course, after that was our rival, where we did almost no damage and then instantly fainted. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to level up to 38 and win with Shadow Sneak. It's our next move that can hit ghosts, and it's super effective. I tried to get to level 30 just to see if we were any closer to a one-shot with Leech Life, but nope. Even if we crit, it wouldn't be a one-shot. Alright, as soon as we hit level 38 and got Shadow Sneak, his whole team was just a sweep. Super easy. Now, we may be a high level, but we're not crazy strong. We can be now, though. We grab the TM for return, and as a person who is crazy but not that crazy, I'm gonna learn it right away. I'm also gonna need to do some Voltorb flip for the Silk Scarf and maybe a Metronome too. The Silk Scarf because we need as much power on return as we can get. Now let's sweep through the normal gym, grab Shadow Claw, sweep our rival and the Ghost Gym, then things are gonna really open up. Alright, first is the normal gym, and she didn't even try for Metronome. She switched to Miltank, so we one-shot it, and then we one-shot Clefairy as it got sent back in. Next was our rival, who's also a sweep. He doesn't have anything too sneaky yet. I'm waiting for it, though. If this is anything like the Platinum runs, then we're getting near that part of the game where they're gonna start throwing some curveballs at us. After that is the Ghost Gym, and I was worried that they might get me with Sucker Punch since I fell for that a few times on the gym trainers in the gym, and I had to try again with Confuse Ray on the first round to get around the Sucker Punches. But the actual gym leader battle was just weird. He kept sending in one Pokemon and then he'd switch to a different one. I don't really have any idea why, just some weird quirk of the AI, I guess. I'm pretty sure he had moves that could hit me, and I mean, Curse would definitely make me faint, but whatever. That gets us the TM for Shadow Ball, but to be honest, don't think we're ever gonna need it. We're stronger with Shadow Claw anyway. Okay, we're in a big open chunk of the game now. We have the Fighting Gym, Steel Gym, Ice Gym, and our rival. Now I think that the rival is gonna be a sweep, and the Fighting Gym probably won't be bad either. They just have one Pokemon with Rock Slide, and either in that they can't hit us. The Ice Gym might be bad since I'm pretty sure none of their moves can hit us directly, but two of them have Hail, and if they use that, then we auto-lose the fight. I might have to Confuse Ray and get a little bit of good luck in there, I'm not really sure. The Steel Gym is for sure a mess though. If Steelix behaves like it did in Platinum, then it's gonna use non-direct damage moves every turn. That means a 50-50 chance between Screech and Sandstorm. Screech does nothing since our defense doesn't matter, but Sandstorm is an instant loss. Sand Attack can't help us dodge the weather, so I guess I just have to try that fight over and over until we can take it out with Shadow Claw before it starts the storm. On the upside, Steelix won't resist Shadow Claw, but on the downside, it's a physical attack and Steelix has the highest defense of any Pokemon in Johto. Wait, hold on, is that true? It might actually be Shuckle. Whatever, you get my point, it's really tanky. Who knows though, maybe we'll crit and it'll be easy. Shadow Claw is a high crit chance move. By the way, I checked my IVs again since we can narrow it down more at higher levels. Our attack is between 27 and 28, and our speed is between 0 and 2. I really hope we don't end up losing at level 100 because we're slower than something, but that's a very possible way for this to end. So first is the Fighting Gym, and although we couldn't one-shot Poliwrath, we did one-shot Primeape, and he's the only one on the team who can hit us, so we weren't in any danger. I really don't think we're beating the Steel Gym, though. Well, I tried the Steel Gym and instantly did almost no damage to Steelix. I guess I forgot that in Gen 4, Steel still does resist Ghost. I also forgot she has Rock Throw, so at least we don't need to worry about Sandstorm. How am I gonna beat this, though? Sand Attack and Confuse Ray for safety? Let's just fight our way to the Ice Gym first for levels. Alright, so I fight to the Rocket Hideout to get to the Ice Gym. Now, none of his team can hit us, but they do have Hail, and that would be an auto loss for us. We ended up sweeping them outside of Dugong using Rest. I'm not sure if that crit on Piloswine was required, but it probably wasn't. I still do think that we're not ready for the Steel Gym, though. So I get back to the Steel Gym and instantly have amazing luck as we confuse Steelix as it comes in, use 2 Sand Attacks as it hits itself twice in a row, then Shadow Claw as it misses Rock Throw. Then it hits us right after and we faint. We only took it to half health after all that, so I think it's safe to say that we need to level up more if we want this to not require unreal luck. But this isn't going to be an easy fight no matter what happens. Alright, so what you're watching now is a ton of attempts. If this ends up being way too fast to look at, then I'll shrink it in editing, but I think it might actually not be too bad. I got up to level 60, and we do slightly more damage, but really this is similar to the Drifbloom fight in Platinum, just a little bit easier. Her first turn is nearly always switching to Steelix, so we have to use Sand Attack on that first round. Second round is Confuse Ray, then keep using Sand Attack until we've got 6 in. We obviously have to reconfuse her every time her confusion wears off for our own protection. It's funny, on the winning run she didn't actually hit herself much, she just missed a lot. Now this is still easier than Drifbloom because we can directly hit her with Shadow Claw to massively speed up the damage, but it's still not easy. We don't hit hard at all, and she has a berry to heal back up. I think she has a Hyper Potion too, but she didn't end up landing in range to use it. In the end, this took about 7 minutes of Turbo Mode attempts before we got the win, and we didn't even need a lucky crit like I thought we would. It wasn't all that bad. Naturally, after that, we just swept our rival, no problem. I really don't think he's going to be an issue for the rest of the run. Well, I'm traveling to the Dragon Gym now, and I'm not really sure how that one's gonna go. Only 2 of our Pokemon can hit us, but our attack is gonna be down from Intimidate, so I could see it being a while before we can actually win. Who knows though, maybe I'll run into a trainer that we keep fainting to before then. I do sometimes still faint when fighting Team Rocket Grunts because you never know if Rattata is gonna use Pursuit or Sucker Punch. If they're using Pursuit, then you gotta attack on the first round, but if they're using Sucker Punch, you've gotta use Confuse Ray. The best way past it is to just save before each grunt so you can quickly restart and try again if you faint. You always win after a few tries, but I have to say, that's the worst thing we've had to deal with in terms of random trainers. It's not nearly as bad as the Driftbloom fight, the double battle with the Zubats, or the random Steelix in the Steel Gym in Platinum. So far, the Platinum run was a lot harder than this. Will it stay that way? Who knows? If you're finding this interesting though, you should definitely go back a few weeks and watch that Platinum run, because that Platinum run was nuts. Alright, first try at the Dragon Gym, and we came incredibly close to a one-shot with Return while holding a Silk Scarf, but we got bit. Maybe this would work with Shadow Claw instead? Nah, I tried again, and Shadow Claw did a bit less damage. I mean, I guess I could level up a little bit more, but maybe I can win if he just hits himself in Confusion once. You know what? This wasn't bad. Once Water Onix hit himself, we easily took it out and swept the Dragonairs, and although we couldn't one-shot the Kingdra, it only used Smokescreen, so we took it out fine. Is this the easiest time we've ever had with the Heart Gold Dragon Gem? This one's normally pretty rough. Last is our rival, and we actually lost on the first try because we can't one-shot Magneton, and he confused us into hitting ourselves. But on the second try, we won just fine. You know, with how bad our speed IVs are, I'm kind of surprised that being slower than our opponents hasn't been a serious issue yet. Now that we're at the Elite Four, let's take a look at our stats. Well, our attack is insane and our speed is still higher than I was worried it might be, so I'm at least happy with our stats. Our special attack is terrible, but I guess that doesn't matter since we're not using any special attacks. As for if we can beat the Elite Four, I guess I don't know for sure, but I actually feel pretty good about this. We might sweep with Shadow Claw. I don't think that most of Bruno or Koga's teams can hit us, and despite being a Dark Trainer, I'm actually not all that worried about Karen either. I do think that Bruno's Onix and Lance's Aerodactyl have potential to be a problem. Maybe even Lance's Charizard since it's pretty fast. Plus, Lance opens with Water Onix, so our attack is going to be down from Intimidate. I'm sure that I'm going to need to be stronger before we can win that fight, but I think that the Elite Four themselves might be pretty easy. Make your final guesses on if we can win this or not. Let's do this. First, Psychic Trainer Will. This was just a sweep though, obviously. Shadow Claw is a solid move, and we are too fast and hit too hard. I'm not sure about Koga though, that Crobat might be too fast for us. Second is Poison Trainer Koga. Well, the Ariados at the start switched to Venomoth that we one-shot, then Crobat came out, outsped us, and we went down. That's fine, we got a Bright Powder from the Radio Tower. I'm gonna try a few times until Wing Attack misses from it. So I got up to level 75 after realizing that a miss wouldn't let us get the one-shot and we'd faint right after anyway. When we got this weird run where Ariados switched to the Crobat instead of Venomoth, and we crit at the same time, so the only threat was gone on round 1. The fight still took a while because of how long Fortress stalled us out for, but we won fine. Third is Fighting Trainer Bruno. Okay, right away they switched to Hitmonchan, who we got a one-shot on, but then they switched to Onix, who survived a hit and gets us with Rock Slide. Again though, that's fine, I'll just hold a Bright Powder, and I'm sure Rock Slide is gonna miss after just a few tries. Well, literally the next try, and we crit Shadow Claw to one-shot Onix. The rest of his team is a sweep. It's kinda crazy how quickly we're dealing with the Elite Four. Fourth is Dark Trainer Karen. So as long as we have the Silk Scarf on, we can get the one-shot on Umbreon, and thus sweep most of our team. The problem is that Gengar near the end is faster than us, so we always just faint to it. We can use a Quick Claw, but then the Umbreon at the start survives and knocks us out, so I think that it makes more sense to just level up a few times and see if we end up faster. Oh, well that was easy. Just 4 levels later and we're faster, so we sweep her whole team. I thought I'd need to be a higher level than just 40, so that was fortunate. Finally, Pokemon Champion Lance. So right away he switches away from Water Onix into Aerodactyl. Sometimes we can one-shot it with Shadow Claw, but this time it almost got one-shot, full restored, and then got one-shot on the next round. After that was Charizard, who I confused into hitting himself twice as we used Return, so he actually went down too. The problem is next is a Dragonite, and I couldn't get that one to hit himself. I already needed a lot of luck just to get past Charizard, so I don't think that hoping both of them will hit themselves a ton is gonna work. Let's go get a few levels to take some of the luck out of the fight. Okay, this took 11 tries at level 85, but this was great. We still need Charizard to hit himself in Confusion, and we need the Dragonite right after to hit himself twice, but it really didn't take all that long. He sent Water Onix back in to lower our attack even more, but he couldn't hit us, so we still do take him out. And the next Dragonite paralyzed us with Thunder Wave, but he's got no moves that could hit us either, so eventually we took him out too. Last is his final Dragonite, but seeing as he was using Blizzard, I guess he's got nothing that can hit us either. That was a win! With that victory, we get into the Hall of Fame and win the run, but you know it's not over yet. Heart Gold has all of Kanto in the post-game, including 8 gym battles and a secret final boss fight with Red. 7 of those 8 gym battles are pretty easy since they're weaker than the Elite Four, so we're gonna skip ahead to the next real challenge, Blue. I gotta say, it's kinda crazy how much easier this has been in the Platinum run, but I guess I shouldn't be too surprised. Less double battles and less weather effects really do get rid of some of the biggest threats we ran into in Platinum. I don't think we're in the clear yet, though. I don't know how hard Blue is gonna be, but I'm sure it won't be easy. Now, I very obviously can't beat Red. Not only would I need Sunny Day to get rid of the hail, but I'm pretty sure he's got Pokemon that are gonna be faster than me at level 100 and just one-shot me. But I do think that we might be able to beat Blue. I'm gonna get the TM for Double Team on my way. It's just flat out better than Sand Attack in these solo runs, and it saved me plenty in the Platinum run. Also, I made the mistake of going after the Poison Gym before the rest of Kanto, so I got outsped in one shot by Crobat. I'm just gonna come back here after the 6 other gyms so that I'm at a higher level. And then the same thing happened in the Psychic Gym too. Man, I knew our bad Speed Ivy would come into play eventually. Also, I lost the Fire Gym a bunch of times due to getting burned off Flame Body, and when I didn't, Rapidash would get me with Bounce. Yeah, I'm gonna go get to level 100. I think it's important at this point. Once we're level 100, we sweep the Psychic Gym just fine, but we're still slower than the Crobat and the Poison Gym, so I had to try over and over with Quick Claw until we finally went first. Then we swept her just fine. I don't think I've had to show any of these non-blue Johto gym leader fights in over a year. They don't normally cause issues, but now that we're level 100, they're all pretty easy. Alright, so I got to Blue. He switches away from Executor right away into Arcanine, and although we can take him down fine, he drops our attack with Intimidate. Because of that, we can't hurt the Rhydon right after very much and go down to a Stone Edge. Okay, I've got a new idea. I use Bright Powder to lower his accuracy and Confuse Ray right away. I bet we can make him faint if he just hits himself once or twice. So I tried this fight dozens of times and quickly realized something distressing. This fight is almost completely random. Nearly his entire team can hit us. He'll switch into almost anything on the first round, and we can one-shot almost nothing on his team, so we require Confuse Ray to bail us out on many of these matchups. Even with great luck, it catches up to us eventually. Not only that, but because Machamp has no guard, he can't miss. Sometimes we one-shot him, but sometimes we don't. If we haven't been hit by Intimidate, then he's easy, but most of the time we've already run into Arcanine, so it doesn't work. I figure all I can do to reduce the randomness at this point is kind of what I did with Drifblim in the previous Shedinja challenge. Use 6 double teams along with Confuse Ray and hope to luck our way through. Even then, Machamp is likely going to take us out if he doesn't hit himself, so I don't feel great about this strategy, but it's all I've got at this point. Okay, so I learned double team, and this is literally the first try. Rhydon never lands a hit on us, so we easily get all 6 double teams in. We sweep our way to Machamp, who hits himself in confusion, so we one-shot him, and the rest of his team couldn't hurt us. That went really, really well, actually. Alright, well, we all know that there's absolutely no way I'm beating Red, but I mean, come on, we gotta try, right? I have the team for Sunny Day to stop the hail, and who knows? Maybe we'll somehow win the Red fight. I haven't bothered to look up his moveset since I figured that we're doomed anyway, but hey, maybe if we make it past the first couple rounds, then I'll study his team and see if we can come up with a winning strategy. Go ahead and type your predictions in the comments section. I figure we either faint on the first round because Pikachu can hit us, or it can't hit us, and thus they switch into something that's faster than us that takes us out on the second round. Let me know in the comments what your prediction is. So I get to Red, and Pikachu switches out right away as we set up Sunny Day to remove the hail. Snorlax comes out, we confuse it into hitting itself once and use Double Team, then we get crunched. You know what? This doesn't seem impossible yet. I hate that I'm saying this, but I think I have to try the fight more. Alright, so while I look at our stats, check this out. I looked up his team thinking that there would still be too much luck required to win. But much to my surprise, this might actually not be as bad as I thought. Charizard and Snorlax can hit us, but that's it. I don't see anything else to worry about here. Yeah, we still need to build up tons of double teams for safety, but this isn't all that different from what I needed to do in the blue fight, or for several fights in the Platinum challenge. I don't see any reason why this couldn't be possible. Alright, my next try at Red, and it starts great, as we have passable confusion luck and manage to get all 6 double teams in to then take out Snorlax. Next is Charizard, who's faster than us, but he's missing right away, and we actually ended up taking him out in just 2 hits. As you guessed, the other 4 Pokemon couldn't fight back. I was actually worried about running out of power points by the end because they used so many full restores, but we had 7 left by the end. Man, it's a good thing I used power point ups on return before the Dragon Gym, because it would have been tragic to get this good of dodge luck on the second try, just to lose to running out of power points. What a shockingly easy win. Isn't it crazy to think? I lost this red fight in so many Heart Gold runs, even when I use a legendary like Regigigas, and yet I won with a single Shedinja of all things, kinda easily. I really hope you guys like this run. Next Pokemon challenge will be up next week on Saturday, like usual, with Pokemon Fire Red, with only 1 Butterfree. That's a really interesting one. It's got Compound Eyes for extra accuracy, and it makes it really good at doing like Sleep Powder and Stun Spore and stuff like that, but is otherwise a pretty weak Pokemon. Doesn't hit all that hard, so it's gonna be interesting using that. It's mostly a support Pokemon for a reason. As always, I'm looking at your suggestions in the comments, in the challenge request section of my Discord channel, and on Twitter. Subscribe, ring the bell, stay tuned. Outro time. I don't have a whole lot of time right now. I'm really in a rush to get this one done because last week's Pokemon challenge, normally I would have it up on the Patreon and the YouTube members thing like a whole week early. But right now it's Wednesday. The video goes live in just a few days and I still don't have it up early for you guys yet. And I hate when that happens, but you know, it is sponsor things, you know? Sometimes things need to get shuffled around, and sometimes I get contacted a little bit last minute for that. And so it has delayed things a little bit. That is simply how YouTube works sometimes. It's really nobody's fault. But I do want to get this one edited much earlier than the other one so that I can get it up extra early to help make up for how the other one is later than I normally like it to be. It's still early, but I like it to be earlier than this. That's why some of you might be watching this on Patreon and YouTube like right after watching the previous one early, because if I can get this thing edited tonight and then I get the go-ahead from the sponsor, then I'm just gonna be dropping both of these like at the same time for the early viewers. Anyway, that ain't gonna happen if I don't get my editing done. So thank you so much to the $50 supporter shoutout here of Jacob Busby, Javid Kusaro, Grayson Fitz, Tara Luis, Dark Soul, Young Smoky VP, Gabriel Thornton, Hernandez Punchdick, and the -1. I very much appreciate the continued support, especially during this rough tax season. I just paid my tax today. And I need to lock myself in the editing dungeon. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and until next time, have a nice day.